when a coach looks back and starts to evaluate his nutrition plan or his recommendations for the food aspect of what we're doing, and I'll even lump in hydration on that as well, what are some guidelines that they should consider? Is breakfast important? Is the most important meal the post-workout snack? How late in the day should be eating? Are calories just calories? I mean, there's so many buzzwords and questions that are going around nutrition. I mean, can you give me some cliff notes that I could use with my athletes?
Sure. I think when it comes down to it, everybody's kind of going around the spectrum or the continuum of, do I eat 5 to 6 times a day? Do I eat 3 square meals a day? Do I eat once or twice a day if we lose weight? Okay, whatever it is, it just comes down to, are you eating enough to supply the energy needed for your demand? Okay, and we start right there. And I think, there's been a lot of buzzword about, intermittent fasting, popularized by John Berardi. Well, now we have kids just saying, oh, well, I'm only going to eat between, 12 o'clock and 8 o'clock, and I'm not going to eat anything the rest of the day. Well, that wouldn't make very much sense if you have double sessions or if you have hard lift in the morning and you got team run at night. So I think when you come down, to some cliff notes is, look at what they're eating and when they're eating and evaluate their performance. We had an athlete come in, was a pretty high-level high school soccer player trying to get recruited at the Division I level, and found out he hasn't been eating lunch. And all of a sudden he decided, we talked to him a little bit about that. We do a basic food dietary recall and talked about it and said, hey, you're not eating lunch any day. And he's like, well, I got this going on and, I'd rather eat at this time. And he comes in here for a 3:30 session after school. We're going hard for 90 minutes, and he's been tanking. All of a sudden the kid eats lunch, and he was setting PRs left and right during testing week. Now, could that have been due to testing week? Possibly, because obviously hormones are going and we're creating an environment to get better. But he said, I couldn't believe how much better I felt when I was eating. So before we get into, well, you should do, a pound, a gram of protein per pound of body weight, are they eating protein? Are they eating breakfast? We talk about what's the most important meal a day. Growing up, everybody said it was breakfast. Well, now there's research saying, that post-workout window or the hours around what we call the peri-workout window, I shortened it. I went to a Michigan State clinic, listened to their registered dietitian. They called it power hour, so I took it. I said, hey, you got to eat the hour before you train and the hour after you train is the most important time because now your body is wide open for nutrients to either gain muscle or lose fat. And what you eat at those times, during those specific times, are really going to dictate, are you going to put on fat or are you going to put on muscle? Are you going to lose fat or are you going to lose muscle? So going down to, meal frequency and meal timing, those are 2 huge things. And then you brought up hydration, Coach. I mean, it's simple, and I don't know where it came from. It could have been an athletic training guideline, but, too many kids come in here and they're dehydrated, and it just comes down to, hey, grow up a little bit and be mature and look at the urine. If it looks like apple juice and if it has an odor to it, chances are you're dehydrated, and you need to replenish that as soon as possible. If your urine is more clear and it looks like lemonade and there's no odor and you have to do it a few times during the day, well, that means you are hydrated. And, we all know the effects of hydration. Dehydration by as little as 1 or 2% can drastically decrease performance. And again, that's another thing that just goes back into nutrition. As college coaches, or we're experimenting now with our college group. We've got about 16 kids coming to us, after work at 6:30 at night. We've got guys doing construction work. We got guys parking cars down at the Jersey Shore. They're outside all day. They're not drinking. They come in. They're doing 80 minutes of lifting with movement, at the beginning, and then 10 to 15 minutes of general conditioning, and they're cramping up and they're not performing well. And then they realize, wow, what I do throughout the day really does affect when I need it most. And that's what we try and do. So, when it comes down to nutrition, talking about things like that is, look at really how many times are they eating, what are they eating, and, what can we do to get better? Are they eating around their workout periods? Are they not? Are they waiting until it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon to eat? These are just simple things that coaches, I think, get freaked out about because they're just like, well, I'm not a certified nutritionist. Well, if you're a certified strength conditioning specialist, which most of us are, it's in your responsibilities as a coach to provide basic information, and this is just basic stuff. It doesn't take a rocket scientist or a PhD to figure out that if I eat a hot dog and, potato chips for lunch, that's probably not the best idea. But if I had, a lean turkey sandwich or lean meat with, whole grain bread and maybe a salad or vegetables and good quality carbohydrates instead of French fries, that'll probably be a better choice. And I think when it comes down to that is just doing a better job of being aware of the situation and what are you doing to try and fix it. Because you're not going to fix it overnight, and it takes a process. And that's another thing that I've learned working with athletes and clients and alike, whether it's adults or, Division I athletes or, even in the pros, is if you give them too much stuff to change at once, they'll never do it. And so you have to kind of give them one habit at a time and this is borrowed from, precision nutrition, is, if they're not eating breakfast, have them eat breakfast. Just try it. Try eating breakfast every day for 2 weeks. Okay, once they can master that, now we focus on, okay, great, what are we eating for a mid-morning snack, or are we eating lunch, or are we drinking enough water? If we shove them nutritional information and say you have to change A through Z, they're going to change A through Z for 3 days, and they're going to get burnt out, and they're not going to do it anymore. It's the same thing with the fitness world. Why do gyms make so much money during the new year? Because it's January 1st. I got to change my body. I got to lose weight. So they sell a bunch of membership. All of a sudden, they go in, they work out for 2 hours a day, they run the treadmill for an hour, they do the cardio equipment circuit, and they get on the Nautilus equipment and hammer pieces. They do it every day for 2 weeks, and then they stop. But what's better, if I do a little bit each day and I build up and I progressively get better like a good coach would program, they're going to see continued results. So I think it all comes down to, habit-based coaching and common sense when you break it down to the basics.